हरे कृष्ण ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. So when actions are performed, what we do is when uh, we are performing actions, we see our intentions, and when we see others performing actions, we see their actions. We don't see intention. That is the reason we can forgive ourselves very easily, but we don't forgive others. Why we forgive ourselves even we do wrong is because we see our intention. We say, oh, my intention is good, but somehow I could not manage. But when it comes to others, na, we only see the actions. We don't know the intentions. So that's why it becomes difficult to forgive. And here we see that Pitu Maharaj is told by Lord to forgive Indra. So this is very important. See that uh, how we are calculating. And Prithu Maharaj is, Lord is telling that, no, you forgive Prithu Maharaj. And, uh, uh, sorry, you forgive Indra. And Prithu Maharaj is forgiving also. Because he's saying, okay, maybe his intention, I don't know. This is actually what is the principle. So, what basically Lord want to teach us is we have to give up our false ego, which is the cause of all trouble. So, the false ego makes us perform actions. And same thing is when we are accepting somebody else as right, then what is the most difficult thing is our false ego get crushed. Then, and which is good for spiritual life. So why it is so difficult with relationship is because of this reason that I want to remain with my false ego. So relationships are tough because the childish mentality is there. What is that mentality? That I like, I don't like. So children, they have this fighting. Don't play with my toys. So then other child will say, okay, you don't come to my house. So this type of fight happens in the children. The same thing is here that uh, we also have this mentality when we grow up also. We may hide it, but it is still there. So here we say that Prithvi Maharaj is told by Lord, and it looks like Prithvi Maharaj is right and Indra is wrong. Even though it is right, wrong, but still, Lord want to teach through Prithvi Maharaj all of us. It's not a question of right and wrong. It's a question of giving up our mentality. Like you are playing with toys and fighting. And here Lord is telling, okay, you are playing and fighting with this yajnas, 100 sacrifices. So for Lord, it is also childish. No, 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 no. I am there, so just give it up. Don't fight for this yajnas and all. So we may fight at our level, but at a greater level, they are fighting for yajna. He said that no need of fighting. Everything is fine. And uh, Siddha Maharaj is graciously accepting also. So this is a very important lesson to understand. That we have to give up our false ego and change this mentality. Uh, that is the most important lesson. And then Lord is giving why Lord is telling other things, philosophical things, to help us understand it more deeper way. So that's the reason all this so much philosophy is given to make us understand. Don't be on a bodily conception of life. So it's very clear here. So that is the reason all these statements are given about the soul, body, and very, very nice, deep philosophical understandings are given here. We'll just, I say, anyone who knows a metal body made of five elements and organ working senses and simply supervised by the fixed soul is eligible for liberation from metal bondage. All these things are to help us come out of this false ego only. So we discuss these things also. Change causes fear. Why change causes fear? Because we lose things. A Supreme Lord does not change. That's why there is no fear for him. Any change means we are always changing. Things are changing here. That's why we are fearful of the things around here. And everything changes. If you just don't, and absorptions are giving, means absorption is giving our heart. So these are very important principles that are discussed, and Prabhupada also writes very wonderful purports. So, and now here you see what Lord is telling, my dear heroic king, please keep yourself always equipoised and treat people equally, whether they are greater than you, in the intermediate state, or lower than you. Do not be disturbed by temporary distress or happiness. Fully control your mind and senses. In this transcendental position, try to execute your duties as a king in whatever conditions of life you may be posted by arrangement. For your only duty here is to give protection to citizens of your kingdom. See why Lord is telling do your duty. Because by doing our duty we realize the Supreme Lord. That is the way to realize for us. And that is the system. Even Ishopanishad also, Krishna is telling that you want to realize the because Lord is Adokshaja, He is inconceivable. So with our material senses and material things we cannot understand. Pantastu koti shatavatsarasam. It is impossible to understand the Lord with our senses, with our mind also. We cannot pantastu koti shatavatsarasam pravayu rathavi manaso muni pungavana. They are rishi munis. With the mind we cannot understand. But doing our duty we can understand. That's the method Lord is teaching us. Here also same thing. Do not be disturbed temporary distress. Fully control the mind and senses. In this position, try to execute your duty as a king. So for us, executing our duty helps us to perform to understand Lord. So Prabhupada is telling Bhagavad Gita, Vyavasayatmik Buddhi. Every man's duty is to receive orders from Lord Krishna or from his bona fide representative and take these orders as his life and soul without personal consideration. This is the way to realize the Lord. There is no other way for us. So Krishna consciousness is not theory. If we remain theoretical, that is the difference between ISKCON and other organizations. Why people go to other organizations so much is, or they feel immediately their difference is, they immediately apply something. So we should also apply. Then we can see the difference. So it says Prithu Maharaj was ordered by Lord Vishnu to keep himself always aloof from activities of bodiless situations and engage in the service of the Lord. And then he says that to give protection to general mass of people who are citizens of the state is the prescribed occupational duty for a king. See, this is a duty, he is telling, this is your duty. Protect general people. By acting in this way, the king in his next life shares 1/6 of the results of pious activities of citizens, but a king or executive head or a state who simply collect taxes from the citizens but does not give them proper protection as human beings as a result of his own pious activities take away by citizens, and in exchange for him not giving protection he becomes liable to punishment from the impious activities of his subjects. If you give protection you will benefit, otherwise you will be you become punishable for the impious activities. So if you don't do duty you are getting extra reaction also. And then he says that Lord Vishnu continued, my dear Prithu, if you continue to protect the citizens according to the instructions of the learned Brahman, actually this is applicable to for parents also. This is a previous statement. I don't want to rush. If you don't give protection to the children, see what is protection means not just giving some food, some shelter. Protection means protection of mind. Protection of mind means what? Protection of mind means giving them uh, proper, making them free from insecurities, making them not get carried away, swayed away, and making them psychologically weak. And so this is actually protection. Nowadays, what is social media doing? What is this advertisements are doing? They're making people completely, their psyche is completely unprotected. This is actually what is happening. The people's psyche is completely unprotected. That means their mind is completely unprotected. They carried away by advertisement. They carry away by all these whatever the trends of this present time, and they get carried away by all these norms of so many things. Parents know why they are not working hard. They have to work extra hard to make the children come out of this. It is not just telling them; it's actually something more. Anyway, I don't want to take parenting class, but I'm telling that this responsibility is there. Maybe sometimes we should discuss on this. What of this? But they have to protect the mind. That is the responsibility. Like I'll just tell one, two, three. Like yesterday, one devotee was sharing in his status. I think yeah. So he was showing one child was sitting with a mobile, and mother came and sat beside the boy with a notebook, with a book, and started reading. And father sat other side of the child, and he also started reading a book. The childs are both the parents are reading a book. He kept the mobile aside. He went and brought his book and he started reading. Of course, this is a they created this scenario, but actually it makes the point. So that is where the hard work comes. So they see anyway. So the point is that they are also responsible. We'll go for the next. I don't want to change the topic here. So my dear Pruthi, if you continue to protect citizens according to the instructions of the learned Brahmanas authorities as they are received by the disciplic section by hearing from master to disciple, and if you follow the religious principles laid down by them without attachment to ideas manufactured by mental concoction, then every one of your citizens will be happy and will love you. Very soon you will be able to see such already liberated personalities as the four Kumaras. So then he's telling that you are going to please them and you'll protect them. So here Lord Vishnu advised Prithu that everyone should follow the principles of Varnashrama, and in whatever capacity one remains within the middle world, his salvation is guaranteed after death. So in this age, however, since the system of Varnashrama is topsy-turvy, it is very difficult to strictly follow all the principles. The only method for becoming perfect in life is to develop Krishna consciousness, as Varnashrama is executed from different positions by different men. So the Krishna conscious principles can be followed by everyone in every part of the world, because Varnashrama is not possible to do in the Western world. As the culture is difficult. Even in India also it is becoming difficult. So when the formula is uh, you practice the system of what you do is uh, follow Krishna consciousness. There is specific purpose in mentioning herein that one should follow the Dvijagra, Dvijagras, the most prominent Brahmanas like Parashara and Manu. These great sages have already given us instructions on how to live according to the principles of our national. Similarly, Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami also gave us rules and regulations for becoming pure devotees. It is essential, therefore, to follow the instructions of acharyas in the parampara systems who have received the knowledge by passing down the spiritual master to disciple. In this way, although living in our material condition of life, we can get out of the enlightenment of material contamination. One simply has to hear from the perfect source and follow the principles of practical application in life, thus one can attain the highest perfectional life of liberation. So, in modern age of democracy, there are so many government representatives voting for legislation. Every day they bring out new laws. But because these are only mental concoction manufactured by inexperienced conditioned souls, they cannot give relief to human society. Formerly, although the kings were autocrats, they strictly followed the principles laid down by the great sages and saintly persons. There were no mistake in ruling over the country and everything went perfectly. So the citizens was completely pious. The king levied taxes and legitimately, and therefore the situation was very happy. At the present moment, the so-called executive heads are more or less selected from materially ambitious persons who simply look after their own personal interests. They have no knowledge of the Shastras. In other words, the executive heads are fools and rascals in the sixth sense of the terms, and people in general are Shudras. This combination of fools and rascals and Shudras cannot bring about peace and prosperity in this world. Therefore, we find periodic upheavals in society in form of battles, communal riots, and fratricidal quarrels. Under these circumstances, not only are the leaders unable to lead the people towards liberation, but they cannot even make them peace of mind. So even give them peace of mind. This is see why this is happening. Such a nice understanding Prabhupada is giving that uh, because the purpose is not very clean for them. They have no knowledge of the Shastras. So that is the point. The executives are fools and rascals, strict some. So the leaders are fools and the citizens are rascals. So that is a combination, according to Prabhupada. So will never become successful and does not attain happiness or liberation after death. So it is very pathetic situation in the modern times. My dear king, I am very captivated by your elevated qualities and excellent behavior, and thus I am very favorably inclined towards you. You may therefore ask for me any benediction you like. One who does not possess elevated qualities and behavior cannot possibly achieve my favor simply by performance of sacrifice, severe austerities, or mystic yoga. But I always remain equipoised in the heart of one who is always equipoised in all circumstances. This is the way to understand Lord. This world is called Jagat. Jagat means that moves, that runs. That means because we are so much attached to our uh, some of the things that uh, all the attachments, all the desires are making us run, move. If we calm them, then we can understand Lord. Because Lord is calm, Lord is fixed. By running, we cannot understand something fixed. We have to stand, then we can understand. So here is one method that is given here. Lord is telling what is he captivated by? By the elevated qualities. I am very favorably inclined towards you. You may therefore ask from me any benediction you like. So one who does not possess elevated qualities and behavior cannot possibly achieve my favor. So Lord Vishnu was very pleased with Maharaj Prithi's good character and behavior and offered him a benediction. So this is very now here the Lord is Prabhupada is going to mention all the 26 qualities of a devotee in this purport. So this is what actually is pleasing the Lord, not how much we achieve, how much we have externally achieved, how much qualities we develop. That actually pleases. So the hard work should be there in this direction to please the Lord. And Lord says that the great Saint Maitreya continued, my dear Vidya, in this way, Maharaj, the conqueror of entire world, accepted the instruction of Supreme Lord and said, One should accept the instruction of Supreme Lord by bowing down at the lotus feet of Lord. This means that anything spoken by Supreme Lord should be taken as it is, with great care and attention, with great respect. It is not our business to amend the words of the Supreme Lord or make additions or alterations. That is as it has been a custom for many so-called scholars and swamis who comment on the words of Bhagavad Gita. Here are practical examples of how to accept the instruction of Supreme Lord is shown by Prithu. So, yeah. As the king Indra was standing by, he became ashamed by five. I told today, Maharaj, they'll make simple. Like first day they made like, I'm sorry. Here, Maharaj is here. King Indra was standing by, he became ashamed of his own activities and fell down before King Prithu to touch his lotus feet. But Prithu Maharaj immediately embraced him in great ecstasy and gave up all envy against him for his having stolen the horse meant for the sacrifice. So there are many cases in which a person becomes an offender with the lotus feet of Vaishnavas and later becomes repentant. Here also we find that although king of heaven, Indra was so powerful that he accompanied Lord Vishnu. He felt himself a great offender by stealing Prithu horse that was meant for sacrifice. An offender at the lotus feet of Vaishnava is never excused with Supreme Lord. There are many instances illustrating this fact. Ambarish Maharaj was offended by Durvas Muni. So, like that, Prabhupada is giving the example of Indra, Durvas Muni offending Ambarish. And here, Indra decided to fall down at the lotus feet of King Prithu. But the king was so magnanimous, a Vaishnava, that he did not want Maharaj Indra to fall down at his feet. Instead, King Prithu immediately picked him up and embraced him, and both of them forgot all the past incidents. Both King Indra and Maharaj Prithu were envious and angry with each other, but since both of them were Vaishnavas or servants of Lord Vishnu, it was their duty to adjust the cause of their envy. So, here this is the point. The point is that uh, the point is we have to relationship means no envy. This is also the first class example of cooperation between Vaishnavas. In the present day, however, because people are not Vaishnavas, they fight perpetually among one another not and are vanquished without finishing the mission of human life. There is a great need to propagate Krishna conscious movement in the world, so that even though people sometimes become angry and malicious towards one another because of their being Krishna conscious, such rivalry, competition, and we can be adjusted without difficulty. King Prithu abundantly worshipped the lotus feet of Lord, who was so merciful to him. While worshipping the lotus feet of Lord, Prithu Maharaj gradually increased his ecstasy in devotional service. So when various ecstasies appear in the body of a devotee, it is to be understood that his devotional service has become perfect. There are many types of transcendental ecstasies in the form of crying, laughing, perspiring, falling down, and crying like a madman. All these symptoms are sometimes visible on the body of a devotee. They are called Ashtasatvika Vikar, 8 kinds of transcendental transformations. They are never to be imitated, but when a devotee actually becomes perfect, these symptoms are visible on his body. The Lord is Bhaktavatsala, which means that he is inclined towards his pure devotees. Therefore, the transcendental ecstasy transcendent between the Supreme Lord and devotees is never like activities of material world. The Lord was just about to leave, but because he was so greatly inclined towards the behavior of King Prithu, he did not depart. Seeing the behavior of Maharaj Prithu with his lotus eyes, he was detained before he is always well wisher of his devotee. So Prithu was so sweet that Lord also did not want to leave. Here the word Surut Satam are very significant. Supreme Lord is always very inclined towards his devotees and is always thinking of his devotees' well-being. This is not partiality. Samoham Sarvabhutis Lord is equal, but he's interested in his devotee. The special inclination of Supreme Lord for his devotee is not unnatural, nor it is partiality. For example, sometimes a father has several children, but he has specific affection for one child who is very much inclined towards him. So, Tesham Satadiktanam Bhajatam Pritipurvam Dadami Buddhiyogam Tamena Mam Pantite. So, Lord, He gives special attention and care for who are His devotees. Therefore, there is no chance of devotees being in error, nor is there any partiality on the part of the Lord. So, and then the original king, Maharaj Prathu, his eyes full of tears and his voice flattering and choked up, could not see the Lord very distinctly, nor speak to address the Lord in this way. He simply embraced the Lord within his heart and remained standing in that way with folded hands. Just as Krishna is addressed in Brahma Samhita as Adi Purusha, the original personality, so Prithu began being an empowered incarnation of Lord is referred to in this verse as Adi Raja, the origin or ideal king. He was a great devotee and at the same time great hero who conquered over all undesirable elements in his kingdom. He was so powerful that he was equal in fighting to Indra, the king of heaven. He gave protection to his citizens to keep them engaged in pious activities and devotion to the Lord. He did not collect a single cent of tax from citizens without being able to give protection to them from all calamities. You see, the greatest calamity in life is to become godless and therefore sinful. So, if the state of head or king allows the citizens to become sinful by indulging in illicit sex life, intoxication, meeting, and gambling, then the king is responsible and he has to suffer the resultant sequence of reactions for the sinful life of citizens because he laid taxes on them unnecessarily. These are the principles for ruling power, and because Maharashpatu observed all these principles for a ruling chief, he is referred here as Adi Raja. Even a responsible king like Maharaj Prithu can become pure devotee of a first order. We can distinctly see from Prithu's behavior how he became ecstatic both externally and internally in pure devotional service. Just today we had seen in the newspaper of Mumbai that government is going to repeal its prohibition laws. Ever since Gandhi's non-cooperation movement, Mumbai has been kept dry and not allow its citizens to drink. But unfortunately, citizens are now so clever that they have increased illicit distillation of liquor, and although not being solid sold publicly in shops, liquor is being sold in public lavatories and similar abnormal places. Unable to check such illicit smuggling, the government has decided to manufacture the liquor at cheaper price so that people have their supply of intoxication directly from the government instead of purchasing in public lavatories. The government failed to change the heart of the citizens from indulging sinful life, nor namely, uh, so instead of losing the taxes they collect to inflate the treasury, they have decided to manufacture liquor to supply to citizens who anchor after it. This kind of government cannot check the resultant actions of sinful life, namely war, pestilence, famine, earthquakes, and similar other disturbances. Natural laws is that as soon as there is disobedience to the laws of God, one at once there will be heavy punishments in the form of sudden outbreak of war. We have recently experienced a war between India and Pakistan. Within 14 days, there had been immense loss of men and money. There have been disturbances to the entire world. These are the reactions of sinful life. The Krishna conscious movement is meant to make people pure and perfect. If we become even partly pure, as described in Bhagavatam, by developing Krishna consciousness, the lust and greed, the material disease of the citizens will be reduced. This will be made possible simply by broadcasting pure message of Bhagavatam. Big commercial and industrial firms have contributed many thousands of rupees to defend funds and that burn the money in the form of gunpowder. But unfortunately, if they are asked to contribute liberally to advance the Krishna conscious movement, they are reluctant. Under the circumstances, the world will periodically suffer from such upsurge and outbreak of wars, which are consequence of not being Krishna conscious. So the Supreme Personality Godhead stood out with his lotus feet almost touching the ground while he rested the front of his hand on the rising shoulders of Garuda, the enemy of the snakes. Maharaj Prithu, wiping the tears from his eyes, tried to look upon the Lord, but it appeared that the king was so fully satisfied by looking him. Thus the king offered the following prayers. The significant point in this verse is that Lord was standing above the ground, almost untouching it. The residents of upper planetary systems, beginning from Brahmaloka, the planet where Brahma lives, down to Sargaloka, the heavenly planets, are so advanced in spiritual life that when they come to visit this or similar other lower planetary systems, they keep their weightlessness. This means that they can stand without touching the ground. Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Lord. But because he lives in one of the planetary systems within this universe, he sometimes plays as if one of the demigods of the universe. When he first appeared before Prithvi Maharaj, he was not touching the ground of this earth. But when he was fully satisfied with his behavior and character, immediately acted as a Supreme Lord Narayana from Vaikuntha. Out of affection, he touched the earth. But he rested the front of his hand on the rising shoulder of Garuda, his carrier, as if to prevent himself from falling down, since the Lord is not accustomed to stand on the earthly ground. These are the symptoms of great affection. Prithu Maharaj, perceiving his fortunate position, Prithu Maharaj could not fully look upon the Lord due to ecstasy, but still, in a flattering voice, he began to offer prayers. So then Prithu Maharaj is addressing, my dear Lord, you are best of the demigods who can offer benediction. Why, therefore, should any learned person ask you for benedictions meant for living entities bewildered by modes of nature? Such benedictions are available automatically, even in the lives of living entities suffering in hellish conditions. My dear Lord, you can certainly bestow merging into his existence, but I do not wish to have such benediction. So, Varan Vibho Varadeshwara Buddha Katam Vrinite Guna Vikriyaatmana Yenarakanam Api Santi Dehinam Tanisha Kaivalyapate Varena cha. So, why should any learned person ask benediction meant for living bewildered by modes of nature? Because that are automatically available even in the hellish conditions. So, there are different kinds of benedictions according to the person's demands. For karmis, the best benediction is promotion to higher plant systems, where the duration of life is very long and the standard of living and happiness is very high. There are others, namely Gyanis and Yogis, who want the benedictions of merging into the existence of Lord. They are called Kaivalya. This is the Lord is therefore addressed as Kaivalyapati, the master of lords of the benedictions known as Kaivalya. But devotees receive different types of benedictions from the Lord. Devotees are anxious neither for the heavenly planets nor for merging into the existence of Lord. According to devotees, Kaivalya, or merging into existence of Lord, is considered as good as hell. So Kaivalyam Narakayati. And then second prayer he offers is Nakamayena tatadapyaham kuchin nayatra yushmaccharanambuja sabah mahattamaya mahattamaya mahatmantarhridayanmukachyuto vidatsakarnayutameshamevaraha. My dear Lord, I therefore do not wish to have the benediction of merging into your existence, a benediction in which there is no existence of nectarian beverage of your lotus feet. I want the benediction of at least 1 million years, for thus I may be able to hear about the glories of your lotus feet from the mouths of your pure devotees. So, in the previous verse, Maharaj Prithu addressed the Lord as Kaivalyapati, the master of liberation, of merging into his existence. This does not mean that he was anxious for Kaivalya liberation. That is made clear in this verse. My dear Lord, I do not want such a benedictions. Want to have 1 million years to hear the glories of your glories. So this is important thing, that we should we have a desire to be free from suffering. So that is actually desire for liberation only. But we should have a desire to serve the Lord. So this is the main difference. It's not about uh, me, it's about the Lord. So this is where the difference comes between impersonalists and devotees. So people are so eager to be free from suffering. And many people come to Artha Jignasu. So the purpose of their coming to Krishna consciousness is to be free from suffering, but or fulfill the desires. Fulfilling desires is karma tendency. Free from suffering is jnana tendency. So we should overcome both tendencies, karma and jnana tendencies. That is actually what is the purpose. So here, many times in Bhagavatam, we see that now why they are telling free, why I don't want liberation, why I don't learn liberations, why I don't want material benedictions, because this tendency is there in all the living entities. So, Vaipumsam Paro Dharmo Ito Bhakti Radokshaje. So, this is Ahituki Apratihata. So, this is actually what is important. And Anya Bilashita Shunya. So, this is where the toughest thing comes. So, we'll try to discuss this more detailed tomorrow. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. ग्रंथ श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, शिल प्रभुपाद की जय. This is Chendanama. I will get Maharaj in the shop. Just outside, I will get this. Yes. Yes. Yes, sir. I think the soul is the dragon fruit. These people are not telling any alternatives for sleep. For alternative for humans, what are things you can do other apart from this massages for sleep?
shows the acupuncture, acupuncture also. I don't know how expert they are. But in the same building, but they have building. You can ask.
So, tomorrow, if you make dahi vada, in how we should fry in oil or ghee? Dahi vada we want to make, Maharaj. Vada you have to fry in ghee or oil. Without that. We have to fry it. How to fry in oil or ghee? Little.